The wonderful Jade Mist Gaming is currently hosting a huge Fae Farm challenge called the 112 Challenge, and it's basically Fae Farm in hard mode, so of course I had to do it. If you don't know about the challenge, I'll link Jade Mist's video below, but basically the idea is to see how much of the game you can complete and how much of the almanac you can fill in just one in-game year, which is 112 days. Additionally, the challenge runs for 112 real-life days, so we have until February 20th to complete it. So this is the first episode of my attempt at the Fae Farm 112 challenge, and I decided to focus on getting through the Saltwater Mines as quickly as possible. I will be giving a brief overview of every in-game day, so if you want to skip to the part where I actually go to the mines, I'll leave a timestamp for you to click on. On day 1 I did the usual day 1 stuff, met some NPCs, planted some seeds, had some accidents, caught a salmon and some bugs, and sold some stuff. There's not much to do quest-wise on day 2, so I took full advantage of that and did some foraging, fishing, bug catching and clearing out the farm. And just like that, chapter 2 was completed. Is it just me, or do the NPCs in this game make some really inappropriate noises? This meant the spooky woods were unlocked, so on day 3 I did some more foraging, once I remembered how. I had a little bit of money from selling fish and bugs and things, so I decided to plant some seeds and do some more fishing. Unfortunately, all I could find anywhere was salmon. On day 4 I got my first harvest and was able to buy a few magic crop swap fertilisers to hopefully get us on the road to discovering some seasonal crops. I also planted a lovely peach sapling and bagged myself a queen bee, which I did save. Much like I do all the time in real life, I then had another accident. It was totally worth it though, because I finally found a sardine. Part of the challenge is to make every item of food and drink in the game, so I built a beverage station and made some tea, and that was the end of day 4. Day 5 is a very special day because you finally get animals. The challenge does ask us to name one animal Goober, so of course I dutifully named my chiku Goober. I also got a cottontail and named them Goober. And then it was finally time to go into Saltwater Mines. I personally am a huge fan of Saltwater Mines. I find them very chill, especially the first few levels where there are no enemies. The 112 challenge does require us to place a seal on every level of every mine, so I decided to focus on gathering enough copper to make those first 4 copper seals. In case you haven't already seen them, I previously made a few Fae Farm tips videos, including one on combat, which is obviously a huge part of the mines. Knowing how to tackle the combat in this game is key to getting through the mines fast, and you can actually get through the Saltwater Mines pretty quickly if you follow my tips, so do check them out if you haven't already. By the time I ran out of energy and food, it was pretty much bedtime, so on to day 6. And on this day I discovered the radish, got those first 4 copper seals made, as well as 3 hammered copper seals, and I also started some side quests, including the flower breeding side quest to get us started with that. I also went back into the mines to place the first 7 seals and gather some resources to make more seals. On day 7 I got straight into making some more seals. I also built a stone forge, bought the produce stand for my first farm, and upgraded my pickaxe to copper. And of course I returned to the mines to place the last hammered copper seal and gather some rough peridot for the engraved copper seals. My Fae Farm combat tips video has cheat sheets telling you exactly what you need to craft every seal for every mine, so do check that out if you might find it useful. Afterwards I had a couple of hours left before bed, so I got some engraved copper seals on the go and started making the components to build a lumber station, which I built on day 8, before I got straight down to business placing the next 2 seals. While I was in the mines I gathered some more rough peridot and some iron ore, which I needed to upgrade my pickaxe again. Before I went to bed I made sure to get the last 2 engraved copper seals as well as some iron seals on the go. On day 9 I spent nearly all my money on a backpack upgrade, some turnip seeds and another peach sapling, and you'll see this came back to bite me in the bum not too long after, but at the time I was feeling super proud of myself. This newfound confidence was only further boosted when I upgraded all the rest of my tools to copper, leaving me with a bounteous 5 gold. In the mines I was able to place another 5 seals, taking me down to level 15, at which point I couldn't go any further until I'd upgraded my pickaxe to iron. So I dashed back home, picked up the iron bar I needed and got some more iron seals in the works. I then rushed triumphantly down to Cinder to upgrade my pickaxe. Only then did I realise I had spent all my money. In a desperate attempt to make a few gold, I went on a bug hunting spree and managed to make the princely sum of 160 gold. On day 10 I harvested my first cauliflower and asparagus, and was also able to seal the homestead map waypoint, netting me a few more points. I caught a few more bugs for the gold, gathered some more iron ore and cleared out my farm a bit more. Usually I would prioritise completely clearing out the farm before anything else, so it felt a bit different doing it gradually like this, but obviously for this challenge I needed my energy for other things. I also finally caught a moon moth, which I'd be looking for every single night since I started the challenge. Just a super quick break to say if you're enjoying this video, please like and maybe even subscribe. It means the world to me and it helps me grow my channel and my community. Thank you! By day 11 I was desperate for money, which clearly selling bugs wasn't really helping with, so I went fishing. I also finally remembered to plant those flower seeds I brought several days ago. The fishing paid off, and on day 12 I finally upgraded my pickaxe to iron and was able to progress further in the mines. After placing the next seal and gathering some more resources, I went home to make more seals and build a gem polisher. One of the rules of the challenge is that you can only sell gems on an NPC's birthday. This just makes the challenge a little harder, as most people have been making money in the game by refining and selling gems. I also sealed the waypoint near Saltwater Mines, which meant I could now fast travel between my farm and the mines. On day 13 it finally rained, which meant I could catch some of the fish I was missing. There were a couple more accidents, but I did eventually manage to catch a sole and a blue catfish, which only appear when it's raining. I also made a garden bench so I could stop wasting all my money and seeds, and the rest of the day I just spent foraging and cooking. On day 14 I harvested my first beans and sugar peas, and then went back into the mines for some rough aquamarine and topaz to make the last few seals. Although unfortunately I ran out of day before I got any topaz. On day 15 the first 3 flowers bloomed, the red rose, yellow tulip and white lily. I went back to the mines for the rough topaz I needed, and I was so hyper-focused I didn't realise how close to the bottom I was until I actually got there. So it took me 10 in-game days to get through every floor of Saltwater Mines. Let me know if you've ever got there quicker. But my work was not yet done because I hadn't placed every seal, and I would also need to finish Neppy's quest to open the Fae Realm and progress to the next mines. Now that I'd reached the bottom, I had a few leftover gems, and day 16 just happened to be Alaric's birthday. So I polished the rest of my gems once I'd made the last few seals for the mines. And I was very happy to discover that my first hybrid flower was growing, an ivory tulip. I wasted no time in placing those last 4 seals. In fact, I didn't even fight any enemies, I just ran straight past them. I then sealed 2 more map waypoints and got straight to work, prepping everything Neppy requested. On day 17 I continued prepping Neppy's feast, but I did have to wait a couple of days for the coral to respawn. You'd think after doing this twice before I'd have remembered to collect these in advance, but I didn't. And I found another hybrid flower growing, this time an ivory lily. I then spent some time farming, upgraded my axe, shovel and watering can to iron, and made a few more drinks at the beverage station. Day 18 was pretty uneventful. I just gathered resources to make some cosy furniture for my house. On day 19 my ivory tulip had bloomed and I gathered the rest of the coral, which I delivered straight to Neppy's fountain, completing their quest. I then placed some furniture in my house, which isn't part of the 112 challenge, but it does increase your stats bars, which makes it much easier to get through the other 2 mines. On day 20, I officially finished Neppy's quest and rid Azoria of those pesky whirlpools. I figured I might as well play out the rest of the day and found an orange rose and 2 pink roses growing. I also bought my first Mamu and Woollyhorn. Please welcome Goober and Goober to the farm. I wonder if I can persuade Jade Mist to give me extra points for all the Goobers. And finally, I completed my first shipping contract since the challenge requires me to complete one every in-game week. With a couple of hours left before bed, I thought it would be fun to visit the Fae realm, completely forgetting I didn't have double jump yet. That brings us to the end of episode 1, so let's take a look at how many points I've racked up so far. Jade Mist helpfully split the challenge up into sections to make calculating our points easier. We have 9 points in Crop Craze, 4 in Fruity Finds, 30 in Flower Frenzy, 54 in The Completionist, 9 in The Foodie, 20 in Fabulous Animals, 1 in Ode to Goober, 145 in Seal the Deal, 30 in Such a Tool, and 5 in To the Max, giving me a total of 307 points so far. Not too shabby. In the next episode, I'll be visiting the Fae realm, so be sure to subscribe so you don't miss it. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again soon with more cozy games.